Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm the moderator, Gavin Phillips. I hope you're all having a productive conference despite all the market volatility out there. Just to briefly introduce myself, I'm founder of DS3. We have two main business lines. Firstly, we focus on deal flow through the business cycle, especially with a focus on distressed assets and special situations. Our other business line is corporate advisory, all within institutional crypto, and helping businesses grow and prep for M&A. So on to the matter in hand. I was actually talking to my business partner yesterday, Alyssa, outside, and we were saying, like, this, what are the banks doing? Panel has been on every conference for the last 5 years, but it feels super exciting to be up here because there's so much going on now. So there's, depending on your perspective, whether you're a private bank, investment bank, commercial bank, asset manager, there's so much going on. We've seen spot trading, we've seen full life cycle of bond issuance. We're now talking about tokenizing and money market funds on chain. So it's great. We've got a really diverse panel today. I think it'll be helpful as a starting point if everyone just introduces themselves briefly, says what you do at your firm, and maybe we can start as well saying, like, what's the major focus at your firm right now in relation to the title and obviously bringing digital assets and crypto to the masses. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. I run digital assets at BTG Pactual. BTG is the largest investment banking in Latin America. We've been trading crypto since 2017. We launched our retail platform for our clients in 22. Now we have a full-fledged where we listed more than 50 cryptos for our retail clients at the same app that they can do all the other asset classes. And now we are very focused on how this infrastructure is changing with stablecoins, tokenization. That's the goal for the following years.
Hi, my name is Thomas Blank. I'm within risk management for KfW IPEX. We are mainly focusing on project finance and export finance. So foremost institutional clients. But my second heart is for the blockchain business, and therefore I'm in the board of the German Blockchain Association, where we provide advice for blockchain startups, but also to the regulatory and affairs stuff for the startups, and therefore I'm really close to what's going on in the space, and this is what brings me up to here.
Hi everyone, I'm Riccardo. I'm the head of DLT product in Banca Sella. I have a pleasure of working in a team that is building the DLT infrastructure of our bank. We are involved in this space since 4 years. We are most involved in stablecoin, custody, and digital identity field.
Hi, I'm Guillaume. I work for Consensus for the last 8 years. So for those who don't know Consensus, several things: MetaMask, first a wallet, Infura with the management of the nodes, and myself, I'm in charge of Linea. Linea is a ZK EVM layer 2, Linea Mainnet, but also Linea Enterprise. So we're working with a lot of financial institutions to help them to set up their core infrastructure to deploy their use cases.
Thanks. Good afternoon. I'm David Olson. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for EDX Markets. Prior to EDX, I was the Global Head of Institutional Sales at Kraken. I spent 15 years at 2 banks in equity derivatives and prime brokerage. A little bit about EDX. We're an institutional-only digital asset exchange bringing regulated firms into the space. We're backed by blue chip companies such as Citadel, Sequoia, Charles Schwab, and Fidelity. We recently launched our crypto as a service platform called Flow Connect, which is an end-to-end solution that enables our clients to launch their own crypto products. It's available as a turnkey solution, or clients can choose or bring their own provider approach. We power the crypto offerings of some of the biggest household names, including Fidelity and Robinhood. We offer spot trading, perpetual futures in Singapore, central clearing, and stablecoin rails.
Thanks very much, guys. I guess as I alluded to before in the introduction, we've seen this flip from crypto native institutions more now towards traditional institutions taking the lead. Do you think it's customer retention that's driving the banks now to embrace crypto? And when we say embrace crypto, like what does that look like? What are they bringing to market? Do you want to start, Andre?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think first, definitely you have like client demand, but I think it's a little bit more than that. First, regulation is very important for like banks and traditional firms to get engaged with this new technology. We need to have some regulatory clarity. But going a little bit beyond is that like the internal realization that, well, this is a new technology, this eventually a shift in infrastructure that you need to engage. So I think there are institutions that are being driven by the demand from clients, and others that are seeing more on the technological side. I always say that, well, there's no like two finance, right? Because now we have like crypto finance, trade finance, everything will converge, okay? People want to trade, people want to have access to good products, people want to do this in a safe way. And I think this convergence is what we are seeing right now, okay? But again, we need to have some regulatory clarity, which is happening, by the way, right? And this is what is accelerating everything. And this is happening sort of like at the same way that you have the technology with enough maturity, enough like understanding that will allow big banks or big institutions to engage.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously you've got the framework on one side that you allude to, but just when you talk about, and obviously everyone else, like, please chime in. When you talk about that customer demand, what is that like? We don't want to lose, they want to trade spot and we don't want to lose them. Is that what's driving it from your perspective?
And just from our perspective, our clients, well, we want to buy Bitcoin, buy ETH, and we want to do with you guys. Okay, so as you start to listen to your clients and there's enough clients that demand this service. Okay, guys, we need to build this. That's at the end of the day, that's what happens.
Yeah, and just to chime in, obviously crypto is a global asset class. So you have US equities, European equities. Does your broker offer one or the other? Can you trade Asian equities? I don't know. It depends on the platform and maybe not all of them. So, but crypto has that capability that it has a network effect. It's open, and at the end of the day, that's what the technology is for. So I think, and clients obviously we're living in like a moment where speculation is going kind of like vertical and exponential. So they want access to it at all times is the sense that we're getting from our clients speaking to their end clients.
Do you think, David, I was going to ask you actually, like, do you think banks will accept the existing infrastructure that exists within crypto, or do you think they're going to make changes and like take over it to a degree?
I'm going to give you kind of a cheeky answer, which is that the answer is both, which is they're going to take, obviously, like everything we've been fighting for with blockchain is the efficiency, the openness, and they're going to take the best parts of that. They're going to marry it with some of the lessons learned from traditional finance. I think a good example of that is kind of a very boring subject, which is credit and clearing. And so talk about T+2 settlement. And because everybody's on this daisy chain of T+2, it's not as balance sheet consumptive. In crypto, if you extend credit, it's incredibly balance sheet consumptive. There's no credit in crypto. We see liquidations happening right as a result and really big moves down like we've experienced. And so at, small plug for EDX, we created a central clearing platform and we have a once a day settlement cycle that our banking clients prefer. And over time, and then you marry that with the atomic swap and ability to settle instantaneously, and you get a reduction in credit risk to counterparties, a reduction of capital the clearinghouse needs to hold. And over time, it's once a day now, but eventually it'll be hourly and maybe every 15 minutes and then every minute. And so that capital will evolve much more faster and be much more efficient. So I was gonna, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that as a bank, there is also another side of this story. There is for sure an issue with retention of the client, but I believe that we have also the opportunity to acquire new clients that do not know what crypto are, what are stablecoin. So as a bank, we have the opportunity to bring this client to the market, offer real value-added product. I'm talking about payment, I'm talking about capital markets. Those clients will hardly go on other player. especially if I think about Italian market, South Europe market. So I believe there is a big opportunity for bank here to have more clients, to develop new business on the existing client that do not know what crypto are.
Is it a conflict though that we've had, like, for example, like traditional investment banks who have gone down like the private on-chain route versus public chain? Like, do you guys have a perspective on that?
I mean, I think it goes back to kind of what Andre said about convergence and hybridization. So you've seen some private chains used by banks like JP Morgan to move deposits around internationally, and maybe also for tokenized deposits for their clients. But you also need public clearly private blockchains weren't the solution because public blockchains have outgrown them massively. So for retail facing products, if I was just to put on my prognosticator hat, it would be public blockchains for retail application because of the openness. And then when JP Morgan doesn't want to see, they don't want everyone to see what they're repoing to the Fed, it'll be a private, Canton or something else like that.
Yeah, if you allow me, it's a excellent discussion. I think that innovation is not on private permissioned networks or blockchains, right? Innovation happens when you have things open, things decentralized. But for the financial industry, it's very hard to be able to deal on these completely decentralized, permissionless networks and frameworks because of the regulation, because of the requirements. You need to know your clients, you need to deal with ALM, so on and so forth. So I think we'll move to a combination of this. Okay, eventually you're going to have like a public big blockchains being used to one type of like of exchanging of value, but we'll live together with this more like permission networks where we'll be able to apply to comply with the regulations. Okay, I think we'll be moving to a world like that. Eventually, the layer 2 will be more permission than the layer 1.
If I can step in just here, because so if we compare to what we are doing back in 2018, 17, etc. So at the time we were fighting against Fabric, Corda, they don't exist anymore, mostly. And so we were building indeed a private consortium, but those private consortium could not connect to the EVM, basically to the main net. I think today, so EVM, obviously it's a multi-chain world with Solana, but mostly banks will connect on Ethereum. But what the banks need to do is to decide from their core infrastructure to be able to connect not only to Ethereum, but as well to Solana and some others. So they're building private consortium in a way, but still can evolve very quickly as soon as we have privacy to the Ethereum the decentralized network.
That would also be my take. I mean, for the time being, there might be use cases for public blockchains and private blockchains. But in the far future, I'm a strong believer that we can only scale when we move as much as possible to public blockchains. And I mean, there are solutions already coming up, naming, I read something about programmable privacy.
Yo, do you have the Metallicus Q1 report by any chance?
Q1 report?
Yeah, the Q1 report, or is it the Q4 report from 2025? Do you have it?
Yeah, I think I have the Q3. I don't know if I even I know for sure I have the Q3. I don't know if I have the Q4 though. Was there something in there you're looking for?
Heck yeah,
Like
bro.
specific?
The freaking update where they talked about the Metal Pay update. I might have it. I just need to check real quick. I just thought
Okay.
I'd ask if you have it real quick. But the Metal Pay update where they were talking about the RFP FedNow request for payment in their
Oh,
documents, and then now fast forward, they have it checked off on the FedNow list.
Yeah, literally.
I'm gonna find it real quick. Give me a second. I'm gonna keep playing this
Yeah.
video.
Take your time. Bro.
Did you hear old boy say that, for the privacy aspect, they're gonna be using Canton Network or what?
Yeah, bro. Canton is the one when it comes to privacy, clearly.
On public blockchain yesterday. So There's something on the horizon coming up, and my wish would be as much traffic as possible on public blockchain, because this is also one argument that's currently discussed in corporate treasuries, which are really skeptic about moving to the new technology due to the huge fragmentation. So we would solve this problem. And on the other hand, from a bank perspective, it's really easy to scale on a public blockchain.
If we go then, like refer back to the title, like from production to scale, is blockchain itself still innovation, or is it accepted infrastructure for banks now? I think, yeah, go on.
Yeah, maybe I'm not going to have many friends here, but I think there's not a perfect answer. We can see here as well that all the banks have different approach to do it. The basic approach is to allow on-ramp for the customers so they can retain people, especially the young people who want to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those. I think there are still more advanced banks who are deployed specific use cases in production, tokenized equity, tokenized deposit, stablecoin, etc., etc. But I think what we're missing is there's no default on-chain rails at the level of the banks, the global bank, basically, that all products, all geographies, all legal regimes on-chain for a particular bank. So if we look at a few examples, so we know that SWIFT, for instance, which is a global organization, is moving their ledger on-chain, basically. We have Euroclear with the Pythagore project. They're going to be putting 300 billion euros on-chain by December. That's great. So that's really a large projection at scale. But I think we should not underestimate as well that we're still lacking a bit of interoperability, privacy, and even more importantly, internally within the banks, how do you, if you have I know you have a stable coin now with many of your participants, is how do you implement that stable coin as an asset within all your system in the bank so that you can do cash management internally, etc. And that's going to take a lot of time for the banks.
Coming to your question, I would beware of a bank that tell you that this is not innovation, because I believe this is one of the most innovative fields for a bank right now. It's not just about technology, which is a challenge for sure, but I believe it's more on knowledge, risk framework, a new process that a bank need to learn and put in practice to handle this type of asset. For example, during this 5 year, we learn how difficult, how different is holding crypto than holding bonds, holding fiat money. The importance of cybersecurity, of process that somehow are manual again. So it's a really innovative field. You need also to start facing problem like gas fee, accounting problem. You need to come up with new solution. You need to discuss with the regulator. So it's by far the most innovative field for banks right now since the digitalization, in my opinion.
And more to go on, Thomas.
Totally agree. I mean, it's innovative, but when it comes to measuring the level of maturity, I usually use, let's say, a formalized approach. So I use 3 dimensions to assess, is it still innovation or is it already in a mature level? First is regulatory clarity, which is okay.
Better.
For the time being, it's not perfect. We all agree. There's still room for improvement, and there's still large gaps, but it is there, which leads me to the opinion that we are not on the early stage of an innovation, because then there wouldn't have been any regulation. Secondly, it's let's say the ecosystem, meaning do we have reliable infrastructure? I think we do. There's custody, there's caps, there's stable coins, you name it. And are there sustainable use cases? I think there are some, not many, but they are growing. So check on that. And last but not least, I would assess what I call sentiment. It's how many people or resources are allocated in banks to that topic. and it's also accelerating. So I would say, okay, we are on track. And sentiment also means what is demand looks like, also okay. And what is internally, let's say, the mood of this innovation. So is it just here for let's do another proof of concept, or is anybody convinced in senior management that it's here to stay? And I would say we are over that level of let's do another proof of concept. Everybody is more or less clear that it's the technology, that it's so groundbreaking that it's here to stay. So I would say we are innovative, but we are not in baby shoes anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot there and a lot for banks to take on and consider. Are banks, or what type of banks are taking on like part of that, or is everyone embracing all of it? And like, what's the speed? Is there a spread in advancement between like the different subsectors? Like referring back to the title, like from production to scale, like what do you see? Where are we? We've seen these waves before of cyclicality within this industry. And we said before, like banks are coming on strong now, but there's a lot there. So is everyone taking on everything, or where's the dual speed, if you like?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question, and the answer is interesting as well, in that some banks are really internally focused on using the technology as a base layer for their existing internal plumbing, and that go back to moving deposits globally. They have an entity in Shanghai, they have an entity in New York. Much easier to have tokenized deposits represent the cash and scale their global treasury operations with blockchain. And it doesn't impact necessary clients, and they can develop in the background and then sort of launch it into production when everything has been battle tested. I think, and so we see some of the GSIB banks really taking that approach, and then there's other banks that are saying, actually, we're going to start with a client with a client product and bring it to our wealth of retail clients. And in the background, we may have these other things, projects that we're working on. So there's almost like a two-speed approach, depending on whether the firm is more brokerage oriented or they've historically been more of a deposit-taking institution.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think like on the first part you said as well, in terms of like the focus on cost and cash management, maybe it's helpful to dive a little bit deeper into that. Like, where are we in that life cycle?
I know one bank actually, which has implemented it with their own stablecoin internally, and then they settling everything on Ethereum every day, and it's purely internal basically, but they have implemented all their cash management within the whole bank. But again, the most difficult was to the integration with existing system. How do you implement that stablecoin in every single system internally in all regions? And but I think it works pretty well, the settling on the Ethereum for the time being. And when I ask, okay, what about the gas price? And they said, well, we don't care about the gas price, wherever it is, we're still dividing our cost by 10 on the cash management. So the huge improvements.
With it, sorry.
No, I would say the integration with legacy system is by far the most challenging part of bringing this innovation in-house. And this, I think it's for every bank, okay, especially the bigger ones. And you need to understand, okay, what is the real benefit at the end of the day? The banks and the financial industry, it's a huge, big combination of ledgers and databases internally and externally. And what this new technology can do is, well, I will not say like unify these ledgers, but at least bring the information to a more sound and more efficient way to record and deal with all the information. We're talking about client information, transaction information. This is what the change in terms of infrastructure is. So if we have, let's say, a global public blockchain where banks and fintechs can communicate in this unified ledger, this is a huge innovation, okay? But we don't move from the world that we are right now to this world like that. There's a lot of different steps and things that we need to do. And well, in all the banks and all the industries, we are building. I mean, we're changing the tires with the car moving. So it's way more like a evolution than revolution. Okay, crypto people don't like that much, but things need to be in this in that pace, especially because we're dealing with money, we're dealing with investments, we are dealing with life savings from our clients. So it needs to be paced out. But I think the biggest innovation, and we are, in my opinion, we are just in the very, very beginning of this transition, right? In terms of innovation, it is an innovation. I think it's not like something completely new for every bank. People understand, but I mean, in terms of changing the systems and integrating that, I think we're still in the first innings.
I hope we're not at the beginning because I've been here for 12 years already. So
Me
Like
as
you,
well.
Guillaume,
but I
you've been
mean,
here for 12
but
years.
we're for the long run here, man. So
But when I asked you that about cash management, you said one. Like within the banks that you're seeing, you mentioned like one client who's fully adopted it.
one
I
bank
think-
which does it globally, basically, and
And
for all region. So as you said, there's legal regime different, which are very different from one location to another. So
that's the
quite
innovation, right?
complex.
Yeah, also I would like to add something on that. In my opinion, regarding cash management, the advantage of using blockchain are really clear. The technology is ready. The use cases are not really ready. I'm seeing a lot of cluster use cases. In my opinion, we are still lacking the secondary market, which is the real enabler to use blockchain and make efficiency regarding capital markets. So for example, I see a lot of experience, a lot of experiment issuing bond, but they don't have a real secondary market, for example, here in Europe to be traded, and it's lacking on efficiency, because if you see then the cost of issuing a bond on chain and issuing a bond with a traditional system, at least in European context, is not that much a change. But once you go in the secondary market, you have to
All right, I'm over these dudes. The one key takeaway, though, I do want to rewind back to is at 19 minutes before we get started in today's call, where he goes on to talk about how we're done with proof of concepts and that this tech is groundbreaking and we're ready to move forward. And these are all institutions sitting on stage. Listen to what he says here.
Also means what is demand looks like. Also okay. And what is internally, let's say, the mood of this innovation. So is it just here for let's do another proof of concept, or is anybody convinced in senior management that it's here to stay? And I would say we are over that level of let's do another proof of concept. Everybody is more or less clear that it's the technology, that it's so groundbreaking that it's here to stay. So I would say we are innovative, but we are not in baby shoes anymore.
Yeah, bro. Yo, he what I forget exactly what they had said, but what part of the talk track right around this time frame as well, he had said that this technology is going to give the banks the ability to retain customers and retain liquidity and it not leave. And it's just so funny because John Ungerland and Marshall Hayner have been on multiple podcasts talking about just that, right? Like one of the reasons why they're bringing this tech is so that the banks, credit unions are not losing liquidity. And I forget the numbers, but it was definitely growing year over year. And if they did not jump on this train to adopt this technology, they would probably be just, liquidated as a credit union or as a bank. So the fact that they have this tech to retain that liquidity, and again, it goes hand in hand with what these guys are saying. And there's really nobody else too, no other project that speaks like that, to be really real with you, maybe except for Canton Network. But Marshall would have been great on this panel, to be honest.
110%. Look, man, all I know is we're sitting at $2.3 trillion in market cap, and dude said we ain't wearing baby shoes no more. All right?
Let's go.
Like, what does this market look like after these institutions really truly flood in? I'd say after we see all this uncertainty behind us, dude, the fireworks are going to be crazy. Like, so many people are going to miss out on this life-changing opportunity because of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I mean, this pullback, dude, did a number on people's psychology, bro.
Oh, and it still is. You'd see it all over X right now. It's like people's psychology is kind of screwed right now at the moment. So it's probably going to get worse if we go lower too.
Dude, imagine if the freaking Iran and US stuff popped off and we went lower. Oh my God, dude, people would get crushed mentally.
Yeah. And most people wouldn't even realize that it's the Iran beef that did it. They're just gonna be like, oh my God, it's over.
I literally posted a fundamental of a dude sitting on this same exact panel. By the way, this digital asset forum is from like literally a week or two ago. It's from February, I think it's streamed February 5th to the 6th. So it's within the last month, right? I'll share that clip real quick. This is from an institutional perspective. One of these dudes is a hedge fund, and the other dude is the chief growth officer at Valor. And they literally just say like the only reason why the market's down right now is because the risk off backdrop and how, you know, it's the geopolitical headlines and the hawkish Federal Reserve rhetoric. And so many people, you know, again, just think that all these projects have failed. Now, I do understand that there is definitely a restructuring of, you know, we're about to definitely see real projects that actually provide value and utility perform or outperform the speculative ones. But nonetheless, a lot of the altcoins are going to recover, guys and gals, when the speculation comes back full force. Trust and believe that we're going to see an altcoin season. But it's going to be when risk on appetite comes back into the market. Okay. And so don't take that from me. Take it from dudes that have credentials that actually work at these institutions and see the ins and outs. Listen to what they said on this panel the other day, just to cap on what Aqua is telling you guys.
The systematic hedge fund based in Cayman. Look, just taking to your point about what's happening in the markets in the last couple of days. I mean, I think a lot of what we've seen has been driven by negative sentiment. I mean, there's been a perfect storm of geopolitical problems, especially talking about Iran. Trump has been talking about Greenland. And all of these has been caused a lot of instability and uncertainty about what's going on. So I think that's one thing. The other thing is really a lot of technical factors. I mean, once you hit about 75, and that's a key support level, once you go through that, then you get a lot of liquidation. So I think once we passed through 75, it was eventual that we were going to go into the 60s, right? I think everyone kind of saw that happening. I mean, that is a key support level. We bounced off 60.
US. So yeah, that's going to create a degree of uncertainty and volatility where people don't know whether money should be going into gold or out of gold, where a government selects a Fed chair that is at once hawkish on interest rates when they know that the president has basically demanded low rates. So I think we just need to be patient. I think we need to be patient, and we need to understand that a lot of this technology has an underlying use, explosive use cases like stable coins, and there is a dynamic shift. But I don't think anyone in their right mind would say that DLT, blockchain, or AI is going to disappear, right? So I think there's a bit of irrational unexuberance, if that's a term.
Irrational unexuberance taking place in the market right now. Dude said it perfect, right?
Yeah, bro. And it aligns with, you know, what I've been learning from you and being a part of CyberX, to be honest with you, because I had no idea that the like these things had an impact on price at all. Like I was also a rookie. I still am a rookie, but like, yeah, the fact that we're hearing really smart people say the same exact thing that we talk about within our community that you lead, I think that speaks loudly. And it's kind of whack because people it's almost like boring to some people, so they don't even bend their ear for a moment to like try to tap in to see what this all means. But yeah, I mean, if you tap into the boring stuff, you're gonna become even more smarter and more aware in the space, in my opinion.
It goes hand in hand with what we've said before on these calls. It's that everybody comes into this space to try and make money, but nobody wants to actually take the time to learn how to make money.
Yeah, 1000%, bro.
It's really weird, right?
Yeah.
You would think everybody's goal in investing is to make money, but then you look at the statistics, and years ago, that's why I woke up. I was like, yo, what the heck? I'm not trying to be a part of the average statistic. The statistics, anybody can go read, say 99.999% of retail traders lose money in 90 days or less in this market.
Damn.
And it's primarily because they involve themselves in markets in which they don't understand. They don't understand how liquidity moves, how liquidity flows, how it flows out of certain asset classes into others, and what those catalysts are that create those driving factors in market sentiment. And when you understand those things, bro, it becomes so clear.
It does. And you lose that fear. Like, our community is not fearful whatsoever. And yeah, I feel like that's definitely, it's needed. Like, man, how far I've come too, bro. Like, cause I used to be that mindset that like would tap into certain things just about price point or dates. And when you are investing like that, you're investing blindly. And that's how I feel like a lot of people are going to continue to lose in the space. It's like the analogy that I had shared, you know, you're driving on a road, not knowing the laws of the road. Like, you got to tap in.
It comes down though too to the blanket that a lot of these influencers put on people's eyes. Like we've talked about, you have to really peel back the curtains and you can see what the algorithm gravitates towards. The algorithm gravitates towards these influencers that have the ability to drive hype and hopium to people because that's what gets the clicks, that's what gets the likes. But like if you actually were to go look at those influencers' investment portfolios and their P&Ls and look at their P&Ls over a very long distance of time, you wouldn't want to follow them.
Yeah, that's real.
You wouldn't want to watch their content, but because they get views, because they tell you, they feed into your hopium, the hype that one day you're going to be rich, one day you're going to be wealthy, when this happens, when this theory catalyzes, when this happens, this and that, you know, it drives the average retailer who doesn't have time to go and study because they're working the 9 to 5. So they gravitate towards that hype of an investment, one day freeing them from the system. But in reality, you are your only freedom. You're the only thing that's going to free you from the system.
Yeah.
Your hard work, your dedication, your effort, your commitment, your consistency, showing up when others don't, studying the information that others won't. That's what's going to free you from the system, not some hopeful, skyrocketing price appreciation prediction that everybody focuses on. Think about it. If everybody's focused on it, you probably should look the other way. And that is where success will come.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to 1000% agree with that. 1000% agree. So everyone's got choices. And it's like, what choice are you making? You know, you tapping into some garbage or are you learning something today? So, yeah.
Since where you brought up Metallicus, bro, there has been they have been absolutely cooking. I want to take everybody's attention to this 2025 Q3 quarterly report that Metallicus put out. Groundbreaking stuff here that I feel like is going over a lot of people's heads. So I want to cover it in today's live. But we have the Metallicus 2025 Q3 report. And if we scroll right down here, they put something out that is now officially, since the beginning of February, coming to fruition. And it's this MetalPay FedNow request for payment RFP in scope. And it says, we intend to extend FedNow offerings to include requests for payment, which can be combined with MetalPay API to allow customers to purchase digital assets and have funds move instantaneously. If you guys come over here, bro, this is crazy. You come over here directly to the FedNowServices.org website and you scroll right down here and you click on Certified Service Providers, update as of February 9th, 2026. And you click this open. I'm just going to give a shout out to XPROG, who gave a shout out to Rhino TDBN for this info. But you guys can see now that Metallicus is the only FedNow service provider with all of the checks for FedNow. That
all three.
Huge. 4. They got 4 checks, bro.
Oh, 4 checks. Yeah, 4 checks. My bad. All 4. Hey, and for the weird post that we see on X calling Metallicus a scam, there is no way in hell FedNow is going to be listing a scam. Like, we got to get rid of that weirdo talk track and that rumor. This is a serious project that everybody should pay attention to, and everybody should really tap in and do their own homework. Don't just take my word or Cypress's word. Go out and do the homework yourself, and don't be married to another project thinking that that's the only project that's going to win. Metallicus is doing numbers out here silently.
Bro, this is crazy. This is look at this, dude. You got BNY Mellon on this list. okay, that doesn't have all 4 checks. You got freaking Finastra. You got Fiserv. Those are 3 huge, major, systemically important organizations right there. Even freaking payment. Look at this down here at the bottom. Temenos, even down here at the bottom,
Yeah.
bro.
Jack
Huge
Henry's on
company.
there too. And the funny thing is that Metallicus has relationships with all those that you just listed: Temenos, Jack Henry, Fiserv.
The point that I'm trying to point out, though, is that those companies don't have, bro. How does BNY Mellon not have all the checks,
Yeah, yeah.
but Metallicus does?
They're sprinting, bro, silently, bro. They are sprinting silently, is what it is, dude.
So, like what for liquidity management transfer, BNY doesn't have a check mark for the ability to receive RFP.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
How does Fiserv not have a check for their ability to receive RFP and liquidity management transfers? But Metallicus does, bro. Like, I'm tripping right now. That's fucking crazy.
It is, bro. It is.
Now,
Yeah.
the thing that I find crazy about this is if we go back to the Metallicus report, okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because we have to take a look at what's happened over the last 6 months, because it's not just one boom thing that's going to happen overnight that's going to take us to where we all need to go, which is to the mother trucking upside, right? And it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. Watch this. So what did they do this for? It says, combined with MetalPay, it allows customers to purchase digital assets and have funds move instantaneously. If we go back, okay, check this out. This is directly from the Faster Payments Council's Twitter profile. They posted this comment from Frank Mazza, okay, who is the director of blockchain for institutions and fintechs. Do you really think that the Faster Payments Council would directly post something on February 13th from Metallicus themselves on their Twitter and ruin their reputation if they were some scam?
Yeah.
So let's
bro.
read this. It says, the FPC, or Faster Payments Council, provides a critical forum for the collaboration and innovation across the payments ecosystem. As we explore how blockchain and faster payments intersect, the FPC's inclusive environment allows Metallicus. Look at that vocabulary word. The Faster Payments Council allows Metallicus to bring forward new ideas, demonstrate real-world use cases, and work side by side with leaders shaping the future of the financial infrastructure in the United States.
If people have the audacity to call this a scam, bro, this is wild, dude. You should be jumping for joy to have the awareness of Metallicus. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now that's not all. Let's go down deeper the rabbit hole. All right. So remember, allows these institutions. This is coming directly from the Metallicus Q3 report from last year. It says, with this approach, it'll allow these institutional customers to purchase digital assets and have funds move instantaneously. And we've now shown that as of February 9th, 2026, Metallicus now has that check mark. Well, what happened just at the very beginning, as soon as Metallicus got this check mark, y'all, this is nobody in the TDBN community has put this together yet, at least publicly, and made it available. So you're seeing this for the first time here with the Well 28 Club. All right, check this out. So we come over here to this announcement. Let me mute you, Akko, because I'm getting some echo. And we go back to this BitGo and Investify announcement. So BitGo and Investify on February 10th, the day after Metallicus got that check mark that allows customers to invest in digital assets and move funds instantaneously. The day after, Investify partnered with BitGo. Well, what does this unlock? Check this out, okay? BitGo, Bank and Trust National Association, the digital asset infrastructure company, OCC Chartered Federal Trust Bank and its affiliates, and Investify, the leading digital asset investing platform purpose-built for credit unions and community financial institutions, today announced a partnership designed to support secure digital asset solutions for financial institutions nationwide. Through the partnership, Investify will offer digital asset trading capabilities to participating banks and credit unions across all 50 freaking states, y'all. This is huge. Supported by BitGo's crypto-as-a-service infrastructure, Investify's integration with its networks of banks and credit unions now enables all account holders to trade digital assets from their existing Investify accounts. Okay? Now, if you don't know who Investify is the only invest-tech platform designed to allow for trading to and from deposit accounts, okay, enabling credit unions and community banks to retain more assets and attract new account holders. And what did Metallicus just allow for? It says right here, with this RFP check mark, it allows customers to purchase digital assets and have funds move instantaneously, right? Well, what do we know? We know Investify back in November 2025 partnered with Metallicus. And right here it says, Investify is excited to enable new coins aimed at supporting credit unions through the offering that Metallicus has built, whereby credit unions and banks can choose which stablecoins they want to turn on for their account holders, including stablecoins that Metallicus offers. In collaboration with Investify, custodial partners, Metallicus will deliver the capability for any credit union or bank using Investify, which is now over 50 states have access to this, to mint, burn, and hold institution-specific stablecoins in a regulatory compliant process through the Investify platform inside of online mobile banking. Now, hold up. We're not done yet, because if you come over here, shout out again to XPROG, all right? XPROG shared this little tiny video with me, and this is a dude from Investify at the end of 2025 when that partnership was announced, where he specifically goes on to say that we at Investify and with our partners would allow these institutions to invest in Metallicus token. We would offer these institutions, these credit unions, Metallicus's coin. Listen to what he says here. This shit is mind-blowing.
To consumer. So BitGo's only B2B, right? Coinbase is eating credit unions' deposits for lunch. And so, we want to work with partners that can enable credit unions and not compete with credit unions. And the great thing about BitGo and their scale is they're able to turn on new coins as they come into the ecosystem. And so we just announced yesterday a partnership with Metallicus. And so, we're not out there pushing Metallicus's coin for them, but if credit unions want to use it, we're happy to support it because we can do so turnkey, very seamlessly, where credit unions during implementation with us can just tell us what coins they want to turn on. So they can turn on USDC, USDT, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then if they want to turn on Metallicus's coin, they can. And so we're just here to prepare credit unions for the shifting.
Bro, he said if they want to turn on coins, they can, and we'd be happy to offer Metallicus's coin. And he said their partnership with BitGo allows them to do this. Y'all, do you see the partnership with BitGo, okay, happened the day after, this is not coincidence, I'm sorry, guys and gals, happened the day after February 10th, 2026, Investify partnered with BitGo to allow institutions to integrate its network of banks and credit unions to enable account holders to trade digital assets from their existing Investify accounts. Metallicus partnered with Investify in November 2025, and the day before Investify announced this, Metallicus gets the check mark that they need to allow customers to purchase digital assets and have funds move instantaneously. Yo, this is crazy work, y'all.
Oh man, it's happening. It's happening fast, bro. Fast. The dam is about to break, bro. The dam is about to break.
Like, I'm hyped for putting all this stuff together, bro. And just shout out to the TDBN community for always just staying on top of things and sharing information with each other. Man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I could see it's like somebody might be thinking too, like, well, why would they want to turn on Metallicus? Like, why would they want to turn on Metallicus coins? People don't know what that is. Well, what do we know that's right around the corner? Compliance and regulation. So what if there's a day that comes where it's like, hey, all the coins we offer here at our credit union are all the compliant regulated ones. We don't have any non-compliant coins. So this is the the compliant list of coins that you have access to. So, just throwing that out there for somebody who might be playing devil's advocate with what you had just found and say, well, why would they want to add Metallicus? I think it's a no-brainer if they're ahead in the race when it comes to SOC2 compliance, BSA compliance, and just being already aligned with these banks and credit unions. So
I'm not giving anybody financial advice when I say this, but I think anybody sleeping on the Metallicus ecosystem is just not doing their due diligence, and they're paying too much attention to the people on Twitter that actually don't know what they're talking about. There's two cases against Metallicus right now that I see constantly on the internet that just prove people's ignorance. The first one is the Burke civil lawsuit that old gentleman that went to or used to work at Metallicus and now works at Bank Social filed against Metallicus. And there's people on the internet, and I'll just, I don't know this individual personally, but I'll show this. Okay. Stevie XRP. And you can even see the lack of education in his post alone, which just goes to show this should not be an influencer that you follow, and should be someone that you ignore because they clearly don't know what the heck they're talking about. Right off at the bat in the beginning of his post, it is wrong. It is incorrect. He says here, Metallicus has been under investigation by the SEC since mid-2024. That is factually incorrect, y'all. Metallicus is not under investigation by the SEC. Anybody can go look at this. I shared a whole entire breakdown on this post, breaking down in detail this whole entire lawsuit with full-blown explanations and all the links to all of the court case, right? With full-blown pictures and everything. If anybody wants to go read this and actually educate themselves on what this is, they can, or you could just do a simple Google search, right? And come over here and I'll just show you, right? Look at my conversation with ChatGPT. Okay, hold on real quick. Okay, let me just pull this up. Oh, was I just sharing my screen with my conversation at ChatGPT?
I think
Could
so.
you see
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
on. Let me go back. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah. We're good.
All right, check this out, right? So I just said here, I shared all the information. I said, look into this case. Is this filed by the SEC, right? Does this mean Metallicus is under review by the SEC? Give me a simplistic answer. Simple answer, no. All right, let's move on. We know that this is a civil case. This is not a criminal case. This is not somebody saying, or this is not the SEC saying that Metallicus did anything wrong. Okay, or this is not the government saying that Metallicus did any criminal action. No, this is a civil case. This is somebody that got offended because they got fired from Metallicus that filed a lawsuit. Anybody can file a lawsuit because their feelings are hurt, like anybody. So then I copied Stevie's post right here where he claims that this is an SEC filed case. And I said, so this guy says that this is an SEC case. What would you say to him? And it says right here, the document you're referring to is a private civil complaint filed by a former employee, Donald Burke, not an SEC filing or an SEC enforcement action. It's important to understand the difference, right? Very simple. It's not hard to see that these influencers they don't know what they're talking about. And the second thing that I see surfacing the most in the Metallicus ecosystem as to why people don't like it is probably the most ignorant thing that I've ever seen on the internet. And it's this notion that XPR tried to copy XRP's ticker symbol. If you see anybody on the internet saying that, then that is 100% confirmation that they do not understand currency codes, you guys. Look up ISO 4217 currency codes and how they are standardized 3-letter identifiers used globally to represent currencies in financial transactions, banking, and trade, ensuring precision and reducing errors. XRP, the X in front of XRP stands for international. It's international, just like XAU, USD for gold and silver. There's an X in front of it. It means no jurisdiction, no certain government, no entity has control over it. It can be transacted across borders. Okay, that's where the X comes from. And RP is for Ripple versus XPR is again X for the international symbol, that it's cross-border, that it's not tied to any one jurisdiction, that it's global. It can be sent anywhere in the world and no jurisdiction has full control over it. And then the PR is short for Proton. It has nothing to do with Ripple or XRP. So anytime you see that misnomer, that is just proof that people don't understand currency codes, y'all.
And they haven't done their homework, and they're just adopting the assumption that everybody else has adopted and going along with it. And it's the wrong thing you should do, honestly. That's why you should always double check what you hear, what you see, and look for yourself. Because it's stuff like this that you can be adopting an opinion and the entire time it's been wrong. You know what I mean? And you unless you're here on this live and understanding what we're talking about, most of those people are never going to know. They're never going to know. So
The crazy part is, can you pull up the loan protocol real quick, bro? Twitter
Yeah.
profile where they go on to say that they're the only compliant DeFi ecosystem, right?
yeah, hold on, let me find it real quick here.
Pull
Hold
that
on.
up real quick. The crazier part to me that XRP, and mind you, I've been investing in XRP since 2016. Most of my XRP was bought sub 11 to sub 27 cents. It's still my biggest bag to this day. It probably always will be because of how low I got in at and how much I bought back in the day. And I don't plan on selling until, well, honestly, I never plan on selling it. If at any point in time I plan on lending it out, borrowing against it, and then just earning yield off of it, putting it in a freaking trust and passing it on to my children. But it's like weird that the freaking XRP community is so fixated on like flare and yield and like all these things, when quietly in the background for literally years now, MetalX and the loan protocol has been offering lending and borrowing on XRP for years with no issues whatsoever. So, XRP holders that want to, instead of sell their XRP for fiat, they want to hold on to their XRP because they're net bullish on it, but maybe they need capital, maybe they need bills to pay, maybe they need something, maybe they invested too much in their XRP and now they need money. Instead of selling your XRP, you could come over here to the freaking MetalX platform and you could just loan out your XRP and borrow against it, and you never have to sell it. Once you pay back your loan, you get your XRP back, and it also accrued interest the entire time because it was earning yield while it was being lent out.
Yeah, look, peep it, I found it.
Where is it at?
I'm sharing my screen. I think you have to unshare yours.
What does it say?
So it says there is only one DeFi protocol in the world that is BSA compliant. Let that sink in for a moment. And it's talking about loan protocol. So only one at the moment.
It's very interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's very interesting. And again, I just, Metallicus is one of those projects that I firmly believe is, it's one of those projects that people don't understand because it does have similarities, especially in the ticker symbol. And there's been a lot of influencers that are uneducated on currency codes that have spread misinformation on why XPR is XPR and why XRP is XRP. But when you actually look into it, you realize that it's one of the projects that is and has real use cases and has been utilized in real proof of concepts with real institutions that are regulated, and they wouldn't put their name on the line to partner with Metallicus if it was some phony project. And it's not just some credit unions, it's hundreds of credit unions, to my
If not
knowledge.
thousands, to be honest with you. Like it's up there. It's up there. There's a lot. If you're counting all locations and stuff too, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. I think if I'm not mistaken, the number that I think I had seen was around 14 or 1500. I'm forgetting what document I found that in, but it's like 14 to 1500 that are in cahoots, that are in the banking innovation program and moving along. So
I personally think that this news that broke at the beginning of February right here is probably the biggest confirmation that to some extent Metallicus is doing something over other institutions that are even mentioned. Like the fact that the oldest bank, BNY Mellon, which is huge in the crypto ecosystem and has been very verbal about their exposure into crypto and their involvement in the digital asset ecosystem, doesn't have all 4 checks, but Metallicus does, is wild to me, bro. Like this confirms my bias on the Metallicus ecosystem long term. This whole entire infographic right here, that they're the first company out of the FedNow service providers list to get all 4 checks, and they told everybody that that's what they're trying to do, which is even the cooler part because it just shows that in their roadmap that they deliver to their community in advance, they're transparent. And they stick to what they say they're going to do.
yeah, facts. Nothing getting pushed out and fibs. Like no, like what they say, what they do what they say. And I feel like that speaks loudly in a space where we hear certain things and then it gets pushed out and then it gets pushed out. I'm not going to name any names, but there was a couple, protocols that I was waiting and I was ready to potentially, tapping into the DeFi side of things, and it just keeps getting pushed out and pushed out. So it speaks loudly on their character as a whole as well.
Man, let me tell you what, bro. And then too, you look at all the interviews that Marshall Hayner's been on over the past year, and it's just a whole bunch of congressmen.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. You think that they're just like calling, like it's random?
Yeah.
It's not random. It's for a reason. That's all that I had to share with everybody today. I thought that that was just super juicy information as we head into the remaining portion of 2026. What a year to look out for. We played a video clip of institutions sitting on stage confirming that the technology is real, that we are in a phase where we're done with the proof of concepts. We're going to start to roll over into this live transition phase, this period where real utility and use case is going to scale. We heard a gentleman from a major hedge fund and institution. What is it? What is the freaking platform called? Velo or whatever it's called. He talked about how the sentiment right now is risk off because of the geopolitical backdrop, the hawkish Fed rhetoric. He talked about how that's all temporary and how everybody should remain optimistic and understand that the technology works, that blockchain and crypto is not going anywhere. And then we shared this juicy information in regards to Metallicus. And I feel like if anybody thinks that Metallicus is a scam after this, then just don't buy it. It's not hard. Like nobody in the Metallicus ecosystem, number one, has ever, in my personal opinion, given any bullish Moonboy hopium or hype for anybody to even want to invest in the ecosystem in the first place, let alone told you guys like, hey, you need to invest in this. Nobody's forcing anybody to invest in anything in crypto. If you don't like it, you think it's a scam, don't invest in it. And then we'll look back in a couple of years from now and see who was right or wrong. Simple.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
There's no pressure.
Facts, bro. Facts.
I think that moving forward into 2026, it would just benefit everybody seriously to just stop following people on Twitter for like a solid 6 months and just do your own research.
No, that is so real, bro. Or tap into a community like CyberX, Well 28 Club, because
dude, I don't even like freaking talking about our community anymore because people are just like, man, when you talk about a community and you're like, yo, we got the juice, people are just like, don't believe it. It's so weird.
Yeah, I know it is, because there's so much bullshit out there. So it's like, and doing homework, doing due diligence takes a lot of energy out of somebody. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, they just go with their assumption, whatever they're feeling in that moment. But yeah, I mean, you just go down the timeline with your call outs for the past 24 months. Just go down Cypress's his timeline on his X account where he's talking about XRP. Never once giving you some crazy ass bullish number on XRP ever. But when he does talk about XRP and where the price could potentially go, it always comes to fruition. You know what I mean? And that's something that you can't say otherwise. It's like the proof's in the pudding. You know what I mean? The timestamps are there. So yeah, stop tapping into that bullshit. And for the ones that are spreading that misinformation, just stop too, with Metallicus saying that they're being sued by the SEC. Like, don't buy it and just don't even speak on it, because you're spreading lies. You know what I mean? And it's misinformation. So yeah,
I think the easier thing to be would just be, if it's weird how lies trend in the market, how misinformation trends in the market over real value and education. Bro, speaking of XRP, let's transition, because man, I'll tell you what, day trading XRP
is where it's
so
at.
So many more people would be well off if they day traded XRP, if they understood that the vast majority of trading activity on the XRPL and just in the XRP token itself comes from day trading. Crazy work, bro. I'm telling you,
you're the proof, bro. So
the fact that I'm gonna continue to show people. I'm not gonna share fully all of my statistics in my wallet so people can track it on Fulcrum yet. But when I get into the top 2 to 100 traders, that's coming, bro, for sure.
Yeah, you can't fade that shit either. I can't wait. It's coming soon, bro. Probably by springtime. So yeah, can't wait to have that conversation in front of everybody. It's gonna be dope.
It's going to be very interesting. And then the thing that I love is recently I've gotten a lot more people that have been like, oh, you know what? You're right, dude. Like, even if you just look at XRP's price today, like, let's go over to the charts real quick. Okay. Look at this crazy ass price action. How many people would be like, yo, this is manipulation. This is crazy, right? This is nonsensical. This is freaking market maker manipulation, all this like crazy shit that you see on Twitter. I see it all the time, right? We had a huge buy move at the beginning of New York session that tapped into almost 50 cents. And now price is trading all the way back down at $1.44, right? If you go into our community, this is what Aqua was talking about. Look at, if I just want to show you guys this screenshot. Okay. Look at how crazy this is. If you're listening and you're tapped in, check this out. I'm going to go over to our Discord real quick. I'm going to share my screenshot from this morning's trade. And I told everybody right before that big ass drop happened that I'm going to sell my XRP position. How did I do that? Right? How did I do that? Look at this. Here's the chat. Everybody's winning in the CyberX chat. One of our other mentors made 10 grand today. That's a light day for him. Freaking another one of our members, 2 grand today. Aqua, where's your trade at today? You made a couple $100.
600.
$600, right? Trading.
It should be, I think it's up a little bit more.
Here it is right here. So here's our institutional tools. Here's our institutional tools. This is me breaking down in detail why I took the buy position on XRP. And look at what I said. I said, I'm taking profit at $1.49 as buyers have failed to push through the sell wall, signaling that passive sellers are still defending this price. So look at the time that I sent this message out at 10 a.m. Okay. So now let me just prove that what Aqua said about me calling out price action on XRP accurately is real. I sent this message at 10 a.m., February 18th, 2026. Let's go over to XRP's price. Okay. Where's 10 a.m.? Look down at the bottom of the screen. 10 a.m. is right here. I fucking called this local top on XRP before price dumped down into $1.44. And that's happening daily in our community.
That's real, bro. That's real. I'm going to have to start trading XRP like you too. I'm
Bro,
just on that MNQ wave right now.
I even told everybody what I was going to do this morning in the XRP analysis chat. Look up here. I gave everybody a full breakdown of what I was going to be looking for at 7:23 in the morning. Like, if people in the XRP community realize that you can swing trade XRP and probably benefit much faster financially than you can just holding it, if you learn a good successful strategy, dude, you would. I stopped thinking about XRP's price going to some high number, and instead I'm just like, fuck, I could make so much more money much faster. Even if I want to buy more XRP long term, the profits that I made today, right? I can go buy XRP, and then if I want to earn yield on that XRP because I'm bullish on XRP, I can lend it out on freaking loan protocol.
Facts. I can't wait until Metallicus brings leverage to MetalX too, by the way. So because we can trade on there now, it just doesn't have leverage.
When they bring leverage to the MetalX platform, that'll probably be the only platform that I day trade on, because I will be taking day trades, and then as soon as I'm done my day trades, rolling those profits over into stablecoin positions, earning yield.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Or even just staking positions too, depending on where the price of XPR and loan protocol is at. I mean,
or in the farming pools.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just, it's a beautiful ecosystem to start printing money. And with our ability to know how to trade, MetalX is like, this Metallicus ecosystem is the perfect ecosystem for us once they add leverage. It really is. I don't see another ecosystem as great as this just yet. So
I encourage you guys, if you all are listening in to this podcast, before we end it, believe in yourself, right? Believe in yourself that you have the ability to learn a new skill, especially in this new era of AI and AI agents. Like, who knows what the workforce and the labor market is going to look like in 5 to 10 years from now? Building these digital skills, learning how to get your digital assets working for you, learning how to trade from your home with a mobile phone or a computer and an internet connection by building a successful set of understanding of the market dynamics is absolutely essential in this new era of finance. And I'm worried, honest to God, about people that choose not to. And it really comes from a lack of belief. You might have experienced some thing in your past that is holding you back, or you might not have confidence in yourself, or you might not just believe in influencers on the internet that you could learn from them because there's so much bullshit on the internet. But I encourage you guys to just try one of our services for just 6 months. You know, just try to learn how to trade with us, or learn how to use DeFi with us, or tap into our Discord for just 6 months and try it. Try it, because I guarantee you, just like everybody else that's been in our community for 3, some even people for 4+ years, you're not going to want to leave, because you're going to be like, holy shit, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I learn DeFi sooner? Why didn't I learn how to trade sooner? Why didn't I tap in with these people who actually make money in this space sooner, instead of all these people that make me hope that I'm going to make money?
Yeah. It'll be the greatest decision for those people who are on the fence and decide to tap in with us and start, putting in the work and the effort. You're not gonna regret it. Like, I'm so happy that I learned how to trade. Like, I technically didn't need to learn how to trade, but because I'm in this space, because I'm, knee deep in crypto, I just felt it was extremely necessary. And now, I wish I would have learned it sooner. Like, if I could have started learning even sooner and I can go back in time, I definitely would. I feel like it's one of those traits that it's just like, it's one of the best traits to have. And I was just telling my son, my youngest son, like all 3 of my boys, I got 3 boys. I told all 3 of them, I was like, you guys are all going to be day traders. So you guys are going to be working for yourselves, never have to work for anybody. Once you guys become, seniors, because my oldest is a senior in high school, and I'm going to start getting him on the CyberX course this summer. He just has to still stay on time with his graduation, because he is graduating early. But as long as he maintains his pace, I told him, I was like, you know what, you're going to start taking the course. And yeah, I feel like it's probably one of the best things that I can do as a father too, to pay it forward to my offspring. So,
dude, 110%, because the best thing is that, like, once it builds such a level of discipline, and it builds such a level of awareness about yourself that most people lack. Even myself, when I first started trading, and you know this because you've experienced it now firsthand, you have all these demons that you never really, you might have known existed, but the market has a way of bringing these demons, these characteristic traits, these negative attributes of yourself out of you. And the successful people realize how to deal with them, learn from the mistakes that they make, and move forward and continue on to a better person, better individual, becoming a better self. And the people that don't become successful, they don't. And they fall back and they continue to make the same recyclical mistakes over and over again. But that's what our community helps you with. It helps you realize that trading is not just about investing in crypto in general. It's just not about downloading an app, putting some money in, and then hoping for some high price. I can't stress enough that between now, think about yourself. This is the last thing I say, because I know we're going on a tangent and I got to go work out. But think about yourself in 2 forms, okay? The first form is you doing whatever you've been doing for the past however long you've been investing in crypto, which obviously, of course, if you're listening and you're not a millionaire yet, then what you've been doing is clearly not making you a millionaire, right? You keep doing what you've been doing for the past 5 to 10 years, compared to the person that takes disciplinary action, learns a strategy, incorporates consistency, joins a community of people that are momentum driven, that are all persevering this new digital technology and incorporating it into their day-to-day lives. We have a dude in our community that is a truck driver that drives trucks every day for like 18 freaking hours, that was able to pass a challenge and become fully funded. If he can do it, and he's never home, he's always on the road driving, and literally can't trade off of anything but his phone, and digested the entire CyberX course material on just his phone, and he's able to do it, you can too. So you have the person that you have been all of your life, or the person that decides to make a positive change and join a community of like-minded people that persevere, that execute with precision and discipline and understanding of the markets. And you practice that for the next year to 2 years to 3 years. Imagine the difference between who you are now and who you could become.
Yeah. Yeah. And then our community, you know, I feel like it's a great, because like we know no one ever, whoever has lived is never going to have great day after great day after great day. Somewhere along the lines, you're going to have a challenging day or a bad day. And to have a challenging or a bad day while you're in this community, man, the bounce back is real, you know, especially when you have the humility to just kind of talk openly about maybe what you're going through, and how our community is just there to lift you up and say some really, really just, you know, lifting things that just bring you out. And it's just like, you know what, we're on this path. Let's get back on the train and get right back after it. Whereas if you were by yourself, you know, a lot of people's head trash suffocates them, takes them out the game. They don't talk to anybody about it, or they have nobody to talk to about it. And then you know, the next day you're not focused, and then the following day you're not focused, and then you just lost track. Having a community will keep you on track as well, in my opinion. So
There is a lot of people that will think that because we promote our community that they think that we're arrogant or we're trying to sell something or whatever the case may be. But then there's going to be a certain onset of people in which I'm focusing my attention on, which is the people that realize that you have multiple 7-figure mentors that are just willing to help you. Like in general, like our institutional scalper, and even I myself, I don't need to be sitting here freaking 10 hours a day at my computer like I do for the minuscule amounts of money that YouTube and Twitter pay me, which is embarrassing to say the least, for the amount of views that I get to waste my time. No, you can tell that we're generally here just to try to help elevate people. And so for those of you who want that elevation in your life in general, because our Discord is much more than just trading and investing. You have a whole section in our Discord that is focused on books and just enlightenment. Then, you know, we're here for you and we'd love to have you on the team. I know that the CyberX OGs that have been on our calls are like, y'all, shut the fuck up. We know you got receipts. So shout out to you guys, man. Y'all are always OGs and we love having you on these calls. Look at this dude. Scalper just dropped another 12 grand. Look at this. He just dropped another 12 grand screenshot while we're on the call live, dude. This dude's nuts.
yeah, bro. That's every day.
If you went back and you looked at how much money Scalper's made and it's only February 18th, dude, he's probably made over 500 grand. That's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, to be real. I would not doubt it at all.
Anyways, shout out to all the OGs. I see you guys in the comments. Blessings to you guys for always tapping in with us. We hope that you guys enjoyed the Metallicus presentation. And anybody that's new, the reason why we reciprocate this information, that we're a community of like-minded individuals here and willing to help you, is because there might be people that need to hear that. And so if you were one of those people, we look forward to having you in 2026, building you guys up. And then obviously, of course, navigating these markets successfully with you all. Blessings to you guys. Aquaman, that's all I have, man. Take it easy. Have a good rest of your week.
Yeah, you as well, bro. Go enjoy your workout. I'm about to go crush a workout too right now.
Dude,
So
got to. Having a home gym is an absolute must.
it is, bro. It's a super must, and there's no excuses. You know what I mean? Like zero excuses. Like the gym is 5 steps away. So
That's the best part, dude. I feel
Yeah.
lazy sometimes and I'm like, nah, bro, you got weights in your freaking garage. Go get it in.
go get it, yes, sir. Well, yeah.
Blessings to you
Well,
guys.
Friday then, right? We'll be back Friday. So
Be
yeah,
back
much love,
Friday.
everybody. Peace.